Okay guys, we're back. It's the next day, and as you can see, something I just noticed, where this has been parked overnight, we've got some new oil spots. So definitely looking at doing this seal, and we'll kind of double check it. I'll run it here in place again on some clean pavement and see if we get those same spots after we're done. But anyway, one thing I wanted to mention is whenever working on a mower, a lot of people will tip it on its side, and I don't really recommend that. For one thing, if you tip it towards the carburetor side, the Tecumseh is a bad example because it has carburetor and exhaust on the same side, but like on a Briggs, for example, they're on opposite sides. So if you tip it towards the carburetor, you're going to dump fuel all over the place. If you tip it towards the muffler, you're going to fill the muffler with oil. So when you tip it back, you're not going to do either of those things. So this is the best case. I usually keep a brick here to weigh down the handle and do the work underneath like this, whether you're taking the blade off to sharpen it or doing what we're doing with the seal here. So anyway, I'm going to get a pad to sit on. I guess if you did have a bench or a table or whatever that you wanted to set this up on, that would help, but in my case, I'll be sitting on the floor here. Okay, so what I have here is the new seal. It's a Primeline 7-04026, but the Tecumseh number is 27897. Anyway, and it also fits a Briggs model. Kind of interesting. What we need to do is release this belt. There goes my brick that I just bragged about. Release this belt above the pulley and then pull the hub down to get it out of the way. So let me reset this brick here. I actually lost the cinder block that I usually use. So this cement block has been in use and it's not quite as heavy. Hopefully that'll work. Okay. It's kind of hard with one hand and I don't have my tripod. Let's see if I can set you guys up here. Give you a rough view. So I'm just going to pull down a little bit. This is a tough one because the belt is always tight, but if you just get part of it started and then roll the pulley, you can roll it right off. So slide that down and it is full of oil there. So we're on the right track. Just going to move the belt here. And then I have this handy tool from Lyle. I've got a few Lyle tools. They're okay. Iowa made, so that's kind of cool. This is a shaft style seal puller. So this allows me to pull the seal while the shaft is still in place versus removing the shaft or the bottom cover and using a typical seal puller. This should work to do it with the shaft in place. So what you do is move this little adjuster out of the way, get the puller started by hooking this little deal inside the seal. Of course, it's probably not going to work now that I'm on camera trying to do it. Oh, there we go. And then use this little adjustable piece up against something stationary. So we'll just put this against the bottom of our bottom cover here. And then that's your fulcrum to pry against. So when we push down here, it should start to pull that seal out. Well, I got a bite of it. Let's try going on the opposite side here. It's a little tricky of an angle for me, but I think we can make it happen. coming. The other thing that I've heard of doing there we go, just like that. There's our bad seal, and it is bad. Okay, so I'm going to take some brake clean and a rag and clean all this up before we put the new one on. I say brake clean, but I'm actually all out right now, so we'll go with carb clean. It's not a painted surface, so should be okay. I'm going to really clean it up. For one thing, we want to make sure the new seal is not being interfered with any gunk, but also I want to get it nice and clean so that after I run it, I can see if there's any new leaking going on. Okay, so the ideal way to put the new seal in would be to have a socket, a very deep socket, or a piece of pipe with the same diameter as the very outside of the seal, and gently tap it in evenly. But what I'm going to do instead is take just a small hammer that's got a pretty flat face and just gently tap my way around until it's flush. It'll be a little tricky with the crankshaft still in place, but we should be able to do it. So I'm going to take just a fresh coat of oil and lightly oil the inside and outside of this, and grab my hammer, and we'll be right back. Get a little bit on there. In some cases, you can even press these in by hand. Okay, so we're looking at the seal. Here is the closed end, and also you look at kind of the taper of it. You want the closed end of the taper to go up, and then the flat side to go down. So I do not want to be tapping on this side. It almost is like a cup that's going to hold the oil in, so we want that cup to be facing up. Alright, so I'm just going to hold part of it in and gently tap my way around. Trying to find the right angle there. Oh, give me a second, I gotta switch hammers. Well, I broke my own rule and I tipped it on its side, but it just had to be done. And luckily, with this being a Tecumseh, as I mentioned, both carburetor and exhaust are on the same side. So by doing it this way, I should be okay, and it's just for a quick second. Anyway, there's the seal installed. I ended up using a small punch, actually, and just gently working my way around. And I went just a little bit beyond flush, which normally is not ideal, but I think in this case we're going to be okay. I'll confirm that when we test it here in a second. So I'm just going to make sure my belt is lined up properly, and I had said yesterday that this belt had been kind of eaten up a little bit. I think it's going to be okay. We'll just test that as well and see how things go. So I'm going to get the belt on, slide my pulley on, and bolt the blade, and I'll bring you back for testing in just a second. We're back together. I want to wipe things down just a little bit, and I'm going to double check my oil level. We didn't really lose much. What my starting point is before I run it, and I'm not sure if I've lost any or not, so I'll hold you guys here. Hopefully I'll have my tripod back soon. Okay. You always want to check both sides of your dipstick, because you can see there it's reading right above full, but over here it's reading quite a bit higher. So I always go with whichever one is reading lower, because you assume the high side is just rubbing against the dipstick tube as you dip it down in there. So I'll show you that again. When I pull this out, and hold it level as you check it, because the oil will run up or down. So here we're right at the full mark. But if I flip it around, we're quite a bit above that, just because it's rubbed on the side of the dipstick tube. So we're looking good, right at full or just a little bit above. Now let's make sure our cement is clean underneath. Actually, let's move over here. This looks like a better spot. So right here, it's pretty dry. There's a couple old spots, but they're dry spots, so we'll know if we're leaking or not. Just gonna open the door for ventilation and fire it up. I'll have to set you guys back here for a second. Sign, we were right in this area, nothing there. And let's just take a look underneath, and I'm actually going to mow with this for a little while just to really give it a workout. But we're dry up there above the pulley, so we'll go mow for a while, bring it back and see. But I think we got it. So that's probably the end for now. I'll bring you back if we have more issues with this mower, but I believe that's a confirmed repair. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll try to get those other new videos out soon. Make sure to like and subscribe. Otherwise, let me know in the comments what you want to see more of. I've got other projects here that need to be finished. We've got that little guy that a lot of you like, and we've got the shop truck right outside. Got the bug, it needs some work. So yeah, let me know what you want to see and I'll try to bring the camera along. Thanks a lot, see you on the next one.